Hello and welcome. This is Diana and you are watching Holistic Vibes. This is going to be a full moon reading, and in all honesty, it's this is essentially on the hunter's moon. It's when the feast is ready. It's essentially like the point of the season where you go out and you hunt and you prepare for winter. Like, this is the turning point into winter, into a I don't want to say famine, but it's a time of preparation. And it's kind of, we're at a point as a collective where there is going to be a keen knowledge of what did you prepare for? Where are you still living in your emotions of the old story? Where is your mind powering like your future thoughts? And there's going to be, you could call it a split of sorts throughout the collective consciousness, where we are seeing what is taking place on a grand stage, and understanding specifically what is taking place with particular initiatives. And we're bringing that to the forefront. What you are going to see is the crystallines and the indigos that have been dormant step into a state of, I don't want to say patriotism, but it is. It's really like stepping up in their rightful places of what they're meant to do in the planetary alignment. Like what they're meant to do in the planet, in their actual like life path blueprints, right? And so there's going to be a lot of knowledge and a lot of preparation and a lot of like clarity that is going to come through with this moon, because Aries is the rise of the warrior, right? If you look at what's happening in the planets, it's kind of freaking bananas, the trine and the triangle that is taking place in the birthing point right now. And if you guys haven't figured out yet, like whatever's happening in the cosmos is essentially what the blueprint is for the children that are coming into the world, right? And these kids are going to be warriors. And so it's really a call to action in your blueprint so that you can step up and be the way shower for those kids that are coming in to be incarnated currently. Ever since Aries, essentially, like we have been birthing all these mini warriors, right? And so those that are walking with the cherubim, because the cherubim are the angels of the army of God, right? And they are essentially the executioners that are stepping up, and they're the generals that are stepping up in the arms. And so they are going to be leading this new wave of collective consciousness. And you say, okay, what does this mean, right? Are we angry? Are we mad? Are we ferocious? Like, what is the pathway that we are supposed to be walking? What are the emotions that we are supposed to be emitting and emoting as we proceed forward, right? And my understanding is like step into your desires, because those that are warriors are going to instantaneously resonate with what I'm speaking about, right? Like you have collectively started to be pushed towards the pathway of your own divine right? And like regardless of who has been impeding you or how they have been trying to throw roadblocks through it, emotions, through like physical apparatuses, right, through impediments, through like mental acuity, like messing with frequencies, like you have risen above and beyond every single point of opposition. Why? Because you are in fact a chosen elite, and you are meant to rise. Like the DNA frequency that is embedded in your soul has a bigger purpose in this timeline, and it's all about like you helping and connecting to the ground frequencies of the earth and tapping into your cosmic soul, your higher self, your Holy Spirit, so that you can then amplify and walk in God's divine light. And you're going to know what that looks like for you, right? Because like you have had bouts of doubt. You have bad bouts of uncertainty. You have thought that your voice was not heard. You have overcome the mind manipulation and you've stepped into your own divine power. And those are the warriors that I'm speaking to tonight, because it's very intuitive and it's very there's an intervention that has been taking place beyond your path through your own collective, right? Like all of us walk with ascended masters. All of us walk with a you can call them elite board members, right? You can call them a internal counsel, right? We all have counsels. When you die, you step before your counsel. These are selected members that you have picked before you incarnated on this planet to work with, to help guide. Some of you have God sitting in the center council. Some of you are so divinely connected to ascended masters that like you are moved by the stories of the ascended masters. Like it brings you to tears because it feels like it is you, right? And it feels like you've walked with them before. And for whoever this is for, you know what I mean. And like God is calling you in arms to arm your armor, right? To arm your spiritual cognitive awareness, right? For you to put the shields up, right? To walk in righteousness, for you to understand what your divine blueprint is. And if you don't know, like get into meditation, hit your knees, get in a closet, throw a blindfold on, like truly, truly, truly commune during this moon with the divine. Like ask God to show you and to open up the doorways and to open up the pathways, and wherever you have been having impediment, I am telling you, if you cry out, you will be answered during this time. You give yourself the next 3 to 6 months to see God move in your life, because not only will it move and push through the collective consciousness, but as you hold in the vibration of it is done, of all your hopes, all your wishes, all your dreams, all your desires, everything that the world has told you cannot become, I want you to watch God move in your life. I want you to hold the vibration of like peace and harmony and generosity and kindness, and get out of your head and get into your heart. And every time the devil and the lower entities try to push you into a mental state of being where your mind is on overload, like shift your focus and jump back into your heart center, and like honor the journey that you have been, because you are a gentle warrior, although you are a fierce warrior. Like they don't realize like the spiritual heads that will roll once you actually step on your throne. Once you are unimpeded, unencumbered, when your meridian lines are fully open and those old timelines and old lessons of past lives have fully fallen to the side, and you're able to step into the greatness that is meant for you, nothing and no one can stop you on this planet. Let me say that again. Nothing and no one on this planet can stop you when you are in your full divine power. And they are scared, and they are planning in the background to try to impede you, and you have to be 5 steps ahead of your enemy, right? If you have never read The Art of War, read it, understand it, and then ask for God to show you the things that were not written but that were known by the person who wrote it, right? Because those of you that understand, it's a layer to what the collective consciousness knows. And once you lay the seed of foundation of the information, then you allow God to crack open your Akashic record so you can read the stuff that's not there, right? So that you can then, because I'm talking to the people that have implants and have planted the seed of awareness and the vibration of understanding that is so much forward moving that no mortal can actually understand is taking place, right? Because the people I'm talking to, you are souls having a human experience. You are not the physical form. You are so much greater than what your environment has told you. And that's at 1010. So, I mean, I want you to understand that your mental body has been under full attack, right? Your physical body has been under full attack. For those of you that are overweight, heavy, that are lethargic, it's time for you to fast. It's time for you to connect to your God source and to start healing the facets of your physical frame. And I'm guilty of this too, right? I'm not opposed to any of this stuff. What I tell you is also what I'm telling me. And it's time for us to shift the ground, the grids, the ground and the grids. There have been people on the planet who have been playing grid worker that do not have necessarily the authority, right? And I'm talking to those that you're divinely connected. You know that you are in fact an authority. You don't know why God has given you the lessons that they've given you, but that you are destined for something greater. Like you don't know why you were faced with the entities, impediments that you were, but you definitely know that they were there, right? And so we are just going to light up and reactivate your heart center. It's time to bring you into a state of peace. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a fight, right? Or if you guys have ever been in a war. It's like when you get silent, those are the fuckers you should be watching out for. Those that are calculated, those are the ones you should be watching out for. And so I want to activate that in those that have been in slumber, that have had their mind power manipulated, that their gifts have been impeded. Those of you that have had your parents spell cast against you through words, right? Because words are spells. Those of you that had been impeded in the workplace. Those of you that have felt like you are the lone wolf, right? That you are a singular entity. I'm calling to you souls because you are divinely connected to the collective consciousness that is currently walking this planet. And you will be divinely connected to those that are coming onto the planet, right? There is something in regards to time frames, in regards to the tapestries that have been woven into the fabric of reality, the dragged outness of those that have had control, right? Because those that are the victors are the ones that write history. And I'm talking to those that can actually read the history that hasn't been written. And so if you have time, get into a state of meditation, get into a state of where you're able to access your foresight, get into a vibration where you are just asking God, asking your own counsel, right? Because your counsel you walk with, you can have one, or you can have at most 13. I've met a handful of people that have more, but it's very far and few between, and those are essentially ascended masters that are walking. And get with your gatekeeper and start really diving into the deepness of what do you need to know, how do you need to prepare, what are the things that you need to see so that you have a successful timeline, right? Because we are in crunch right now. The next I'd say 9 years is going to determine what we step into, right? And I need for you guys that do find this to prepare. Right? It's preparing mentally. It's preparing in the etheric realm. It's preparing your gifts. It's preparing for the understanding of what's taking place. The more divine and connected you are to God's source energy, the more you're connected to your own sovereignty, to where you are fully clear in your body and you have zero impediments and you are a sovereign being having a human experience, right? Where you are then able to see the God source in another person. Like, that is the encoding and activation for this moon. Does that make sense? It's all about the shifting and the channeling and the changing into the paradigm that we all believe can happen. It's time to open up the pathways for your highest timeline, right? And it may feel like you've been dying a slow death, right? Some of you could have health conditions that have popped up. Some of you could be in a state of anxiety. Some of you could be in a state of depression. Some of you can be in a state of fear. Some of you can be pushed into fight or flight. And it's really important right now, instead of reacting, for you to ask God to show you the way out of whatever turmoil that you are happening into currently. And understand, like, those that are dealing with a cleansing or a full reset, know that there's a reason, right? Part of it is because the enemy is attacking and they're taking out the highest vibrational points on the planet, and they're trying to make them dense. Why? Because those high vibrational places essentially are recoding the grid systems of the planet. And so as you're seeing this paradigm of like turmoil or negativity, harnessing these like energies of like, what will we do next, right? Understand and revert back to the here and the now, and understand that like God has brought you up to this point. If you are walking, if you have a soul in this body, and you are still breathing, and you are still connected, and you still hold on to all of your gifts, and you haven't sold anything away, right? Like, God is going to open up the doorways and the pathways for you to not only get through this, but to thrive into this next phase. And it's all about like understanding, like, what do I need to do to be the brightest possible I can be in the here and the now, right? And like, it's going to be a challenge. And for the next, I'd say 3 months, like, really dig deep into that and ask yourself every part of the explanation, right, of the cosmic energy that you're going to be encountering, of the angelic energy that you're going to be encountering, of the questioning of your intuition, whether or not it's what you want to hear or whether it's what God wants you to hear, right? Because it's that understanding of the duality and the dichotomy of like what your thoughts are saying. Is it of you or is it outside of you, right? Set the intention that you only want to speak to your higher self, your Holy Spirit. You only want like your guides to help you move through that physical energy, and always come back to the cleansing of your aura, come back to the cutting of cords, come back to the clarity of your energetic field, right? Because it's going to be very, very important over the 9-year cycle that you are, and I don't know what's happening in the planets, but there's got to be a key attribute that is causing the energetic shift to like the pendulum is literally shifting to the other side. And so those that have been in power will fall. And those indigos and those crystallines that are meant to be the politicians, to be the lawmakers, to be those that are operating out of truth and justice and are truly trying to shift the planet and change the what has been in operation, right? All of those that have turned a blind eye to what has been taking place out in the open are no longer going to be exonerified, is what they just said. They are going to be raked over the coals, and they will be placed in the guillotines, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, right? Like, those bodies that they're operating with will feel it for lifetimes to come. And so it's a call to arms, because those that walk in the light are going to step into light that much more. It's like your magnetism to what is truth and justice and vindication can no longer sit on the sidelines. And so like that is essentially what this hunter's moon is. And soon those that have been hunted will become the hunter. And I don't know, but they're bringing me to the Artemis fable, right? Like the mythology of how she was bathing and the hunter essentially became the doe. And then all of a sudden she then hunted the doe, right? All for looking at her when she was bathing, because he knew better. That was her spot. And there is going to be it's almost like the ripple that's coming through the collective consciousness cannot be stopped, because there are too many that are already holding the frequency of I see what it is and I understand truth. And you're essentially outpouring and rippling that out into the collective, to where those others that don't see it yet are going to soon see it without you even saying anything. And down those entities that have been harvesting energy and have been doing it for their own control of energetic frequencies, right? Don't get me wrong, the NPCs are able to be controlled, but it's the ones that are the indigo and the crystalline and the blue ray and the cosmic rays, and the different star systems that have essentially seeded the planet. And those are going to be the ones that are going to be waking up, coming online, and shifting the conscious awareness of what is currently happening. I'm going to leave that there, yeah? So I'm going to leave you with this. And I just realized I haven't thrown a single card. What lights you up? Follow whatever you feel is your purpose. Whatever you feel that God has intended for you to do. Because all of the impediments that you have had in the past have been fully broken. Whatever timeline, whatever time capsule, whatever impediment was, all of those barriers are fully down. It's kind of like the battle's already been won, so now it's time for you to step into your renaissance. It's time for you to step into the identification of who you truly are. So for those of you that can get out into water, that can get out into sea salt water, that can get out and just commune with the divine under this hunter's moon. For those of you that can burn like your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your desires, those of you that can soak, do that. And just pray and ask and give yourself that time for solace, so that you can truly release any of those old thought forms, right? And just see them and identify them and just command them and say, I no longer hold space for these thought forms. You have no hold on me. You have no control, and you are required to get out of my field. I command you, right? And own that. Because here's the thing, is those of you walking in a physical body, you are a higher caliber than any demon and any spirit that is walking on this planet currently. And so step into your divine power, step into your divine rights, and it's time for you to write down your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, desires, and try to go as big as you possibly can. Because if you can dream it into existence, it can become what is meant for you, right? I hope that you have a fantastic new moon, full moon. Because this hunter's moon is a new moon. It is a new vibration and frequency of self. I hope that you birth these new warriors that come in, and that you hold the light. And for those of you that are out walking around, take off your sunglasses, look people in the eye, and allow yourself to sync with the soul for those that have the souls, right? Because you are planting the seed of awakening. It is time to wake the collective consciousness. It is time to wake the other star seeds. It is time to wait and wake up all of those souls that have been dormant because they just didn't know any better. Be well until next time. Ciao. If you would like a reading or a healing, all the information is below. And if you don't see spaces, just email me and we'll make something work. Until next time, be well.